Hey y'all, it's me, Aaron, and a while back on this channel we had a show called Thorgi's Picks, where every single week I would come in here and spotlight an older trade paperback. Something that a lot of new readers might not be familiar with, or maybe it's some hidden gem that I think more people needed to know about. Basically, it was an opportunity for me to look back at older books and talk about ones I had always really enjoyed. But as time went along, we didn't really have much time left to do that every single week, so that show kind of fell to the wayside. But recently, I set some time aside for myself to look at all the books that had kind of just been piling up, that I had been collecting and paying for and not reading because I just didn't have time for that. I set aside a little moment for myself to get fully caught up on all the stuff that I had been enjoying, and that's when I remembered, oh right, there's a lot of really good comics out there. There's a lot of great books, some of which everybody knows they're great, some of which people aren't really talking about, but it made me just want to come in here and sort of just geek out about how much I am enjoying these books. So I thought, you know what? Let's do it. Let's take Thorgi's Picks, let's dig around in our old show's bin, pull that one out, refresh it. We're going to make this a once a month show in which I come in here and now, rather than talking about an old book, I talk about something that's ongoing. Something that you can go and start reading today that is still happening. Because, yeah man, sometimes it's a series that I think more people need to know about, but other times, like the book we're talking about today, it's just something that I love. And I just really need to get that love off my chest. I am just bursting at the seams with how much I am enjoying this book, and I kind of just need to yell into a camera about it. The book that I am talking about today is Jason Aaron's Avengers series, and when issue number 1 of this came out, I made a video where I said, yeah, you know what, it's good, it's good, I like it, it's got a good start to it, we're gonna see where this thing goes, artwork looks amazing, but that was kind of all that was. It was kind of just a setup for the Avengers to go and punch some things. And then, over the course of the next several issues, the Avengers went and they punched some things. And yeah, I kind of dropped off after that. I followed it all the way up until the conclusion of that first storyline. Artwork continued to look amazing. There were some intriguing ideas in there, but it was not knocking it out of the park. It wasn't really blowing my mind like I had been kind of hoping that it would. I mean, this is a powerhouse talent like Jason Aaron working on the Avengers. I was really expecting a lot more from that, and what I got was an okay story about heroes teaming up. That's kind of all that it was. And then the next storyline started. And as I said, I dropped off. I didn't continue reading after that. But then, people kept saying that the book got better. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll return to it eventually. And then the next trade came out, and people were like, no, it's really darn good. You should be checking this out now, it's really ramping up. And so I finally decided to cave. I looked back, I bought both of those trades, and oh my god, this thing got better on a dime. As I said, that first storyline, it's not bad, it's fine, it's the Avengers, they come together, they punch some stuff, hooray! That was kind of all that was. I didn't really get a whole lot more than just that, and I kind of needed a whole lot more than just that. For me, the Avengers were always about that personal touch. It was always about seeing the interplay between the different characters on the team. It was about seeing the relationships build between these different characters. It was about really getting inside each of these characters' heads. And I understand that first storyline, you had to kind of blow people away with seeing all these characters punch a big thing. So, fine, but I really wanted a lot more than that. And oh my gosh, it gives me all that stuff almost immediately after I stopped reading this. Like, it really felt like I just tuned out at the worst possible time on this book, because it does get so much better just as soon as that second trade begins. And all that stuff going into the first storyline where you saw the ancient Avengers, the Avengers 1 million BC, which, by the way, real quick side tangent here, there's a book going on right now called The Savage Avengers, and yeah, I've said this many times before. Marvel really needs to stop making every team the Avengers, and it felt like they were going to do that. And I'll give them some credit, they have launched some different books out there. There's a brand new team book coming soon called Strike Force, and every now and again I have to check that book just to make sure they have not changed the name to Avengers Strike Force. No. Oh my goodness, it's a brand new team. Yeah. That's kind of a smart idea to not just keep naming everything Avengers over and over and over again. It is a good idea to diversify your bonds a little bit. to come in here and create some new things that could get their own fan base and their own spin-off. So when I saw Savage Avengers, I looked at that and I was like, it's Wolverine, it's Eddie Brock, it's the Punisher, it's Elektra, it's Conan the Barbarian. You don't need the name Avengers to help sell this book. The roster is going to do that all on their own. And now you kind of water down the name Avengers a little bit more by stretching a little bit more into this thing. But I saw someone on Twitter bring this up. Why isn't the name Savage Avengers being applied to the Avengers of 1 million BC? Why isn't it being applied to the Avengers who are literally cavemen? That's weird. Yeah, doesn't it feel like that should be the name of them? That was a little side tangent, had to get on that real quick. But yeah, when they were popping up back and forth in the first storyline that we got, I was like, okay, it's kind of cool designs, but I don't really care about any of these characters. I mean, the stuff going on with Odin is okay, but I think the main reason I'm saying that is because I know who Odin is. But after that, we started to get single issues that spotlighted each member of the Avengers 1 million BC, and oh my god, I care about these guys so much now. In like a single issue, Jason Aaron is able to come in here and go, hey, you know this random caveman that you never saw before? They're now your new favorite character. Yeah, kind of. We got the origin story to the very first Iron Fist. And oh my god, she's a great Iron Fist. We got the origin story to the very first Ghost Rider. I'm now very intrigued by the long history of Ghost Riders. That's a sentence I never really said. But what about the main team itself? What about the modern day Avengers? This roster made up of Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, She-Hulk, Robbie Reyes. What about them? How do I feel about this roster of characters? As I said, I always loved that the Avengers were kind of about the connections between these characters. It was about getting an in-depth look at the personality of these characters and seeing how those personalities play off every single other member of this team. And while we don't get huge moments like that, we did get one single issue that was nothing but that, and I was greatly happy about that. But we do get little moments here and there, and that's the key. You can't just have several issues in a row in which nothing happens except for personal development with these characters. It is a superhero book, it is the Avengers, they do have to go and punch a big thing at some point in time. But Jason Aaron has found this great balance to be able to give us little moments that feel very large, that make you really appreciate the connections these characters have. Like, there is this moment in the third storyline that has to do with a war of vampires, which, yeah, when I heard that the Avengers were going to be fighting a big war with vampires, I looked at that and I was like, oh, this doesn't really feel like an Avengers-y kind of thing, and Blade is now joining the team? Oh man, okay, I like Blade, but he's another one of those guys that I look at and I'm like, should he really be an Avenger? I mean, he's a guy who just goes around murdering vampires. Should he be on the world's biggest superhero team? That's kind of an interesting thing, and I'll get back to Blade on this team in just a second. But man, that vampire storyline is the best storyline so far in this. He found a way to make a big War of the Vampires story feel like an Avengers story. It is so freaking good. Of course, that's the thing that I have to keep reminding myself is that, yeah, when I think of the Avengers, I might remember them going up against like Kang and Ultron and Thanos, but they would fight a variety of people. They would go up against a variety of threats, so it isn't that out of their ballpark for them to fight vampires. However, in that moment, Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes, he gets possessed. He has the demon inside of him just take control and start fighting alongside the vampires, and they're using magic in order to control him and make him fight his friends. And yeah, you talk about getting in depth with a character. This whole experience is being shown through Robbie's eyes. You're inside his head. You're hearing his thoughts as this is happening. You're seeing what he's seeing as this battle is taking place. And yeah, you get a sense of who he is, how he feels about being on this team, about his own connection to his powers, how he constantly doesn't understand them, and that's kind of frightening to him. Yeah, you get so much personality from him, but there is a moment in which the Avengers are like, we gotta stop him. He's out of control, we gotta stop him. And Captain Marvel is stepping up and saying, no, we have to give him a chance to fight this. We have to be there for Robbie. We have to try and save this poor kid. And I was looking at that, I was like, why does Captain Marvel care so much about Robbie? I mean, she's a hero, obviously, but the other heroes are fighting him, so why is it that she is the character that's kind of coming in here and, oh, they had a scene several issues ago in which they were bonding over cars. in which she actually did give him like this little speech about being a hero, and it was really nice in there, and oh, would she really bond with him about cars, and oh wait, she is kind of a gearhead herself because she knows all about the mechanics of planes because she's a pilot, and oh shoot, yeah, that would make sense for this guy who loves cars and this woman who loves planes because they both know all about the insides of them kind of coming together and having some kind of connection in there. Also, if you know something about Captain Marvel, you know that she also kind of cares about younger people. She does kind of have a connection to kids, and Robbie is like just barely 18, like he's barely old enough to be on the Avengers. So yes, it makes absolute sense that she would be the one standing up to try and protect Robbie, while the other Avengers are like, we gotta stop this guy. Oh my goodness, I'm getting bonds between these characters, and their personalities are fitting into place with each other. Yes! This is the stuff that I always loved about the Avengers. And even the stuff in this book that I wasn't really digging at first and felt like it was coming out of nowhere, they later took the time to explore that stuff, and I became okay with it. I started to see why this stuff now worked. Like, the best example of what I'm talking about is that, speaking of personal connections between these characters, you have Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, forming a relationship with Thor. And I remember when that first happened, it felt like it came out of nowhere, and I was like, ew, I don't know about that. I mean, out of all the characters I can see hooking up with each other, Jennifer Walters and Thor, I don't know, it just doesn't quite, my brain won't process that. But then there came this issue, which the entire issue was basically about showing what the Avengers were doing in their off time when they didn't have this mission to go on. And then it was also spotlighting all the several other characters that were going to be important down the road. And I will get to that in a second because it's kind of awesome. But in that issue, Jennifer Walters and Thor go on their first date. And it was basically the two of them being very mismatched with each other. Like, Thor takes her to the Savage Land, and it's basically Thor just sitting there in total silence watching dinosaurs fight. It's like, would you like me to go and punch that thing? No, I'm good. And then I was like, yeah, they really don't seem to match with each other. Are you trying to say that, like, Jen Walters and Thor don't match up, but maybe She-Hulk, when she's in her She-Hulk form, she matches up with them? Like, yeah, I'm not feeling anything here. But then at the end of that, Thor actually makes this speech about why he actually cares about Jen. About, it's not, oh, I want to hook up with someone who's really strong. No, he makes a speech about, I kind of like you because I just like strong women, and you, Jen Walters, you're the strong woman here, not She-Hulk. I'm really impressed by you as a person. I want to know what makes you tick. And then when he was saying that, I was like, his greatest love is the only other person on Earth besides him and Captain America who can pick up his hammer. And it made me think about Jane Foster, and it made me kind of compare Jane Foster to Jennifer Walters, and I was like, actually, I can see this now. Okay, that actually works, and now I'm actually really interested to see where this goes. And they've actually changed around the She-Hulk side of Jennifer Walters a lot in this book, and that was another thing. That in the beginning, I wasn't really feeling that. Like, they made her more like the regular Hulk, where she's not only larger, but also her vocabulary is dumbed down. And I always thought, yeah, but she was always kind of like the sassy, mature Hulk. She was the one who actually was intelligent and had like this big, booming personality to her, and making her more like just the regular Hulk, I'm not really feeling it. But it was while I was reading the third trade paperback, the whole Vampire War thing, that slowly I started to pay attention to what she was saying rather than how she was saying it. Because yeah, she is like Hulk this, Hulk that, but she wasn't just Hulk smash, Hulk smash, Hulk smash, just roar, Hulk angry. I was actually paying attention to the sentences she was saying and how she was saying them. I went, okay, let me try and like, not dumb this down, but smarten this up. Let me take the dialogue that she's saying, and just rather than speaking in the third person, referring to herself as Hulk this, just, you know, try and make this sound like how a normal person would say that sentence. And then it kind of hit me. This is exactly how Jennifer Walker talks. Walker? Man, I choked at the wrong word there. This is exactly how Jennifer Walters talks. She would say stuff like this. She would say stuff with this level of snark. Like, that is something that is very different from this interpretation of Jennifer Walters as the Hulk compared to, say, Bruce Banner as the Hulk. She still has the personality of Jennifer Walters. She still talks exactly like Jennifer Walters does. She still talks the same way that She-Hulk does, just now it's in Hulk speak. So she still maintained her personality in there, but now because she received a massive power boost at the beginning of this storyline, she now is kind of a little bit more hulkish. Okay, I'm alright with that. And another thing that I didn't really know how I felt about this until I got to see it in action was when Blade joined the team, because again, I'm one of those guys who is like, oh, are you known for just murdering massive hordes of people? I don't really know if that's something I want on the Avengers, but there is this entire storyline about Blade joining the Avengers so that he can be involved in this vampire war. And as you watch him kind of connecting with the team, at first he is like, yeah, I'm only here to just kill these vampires, and listen, if that makes me an Avenger, fine, I'm an Avenger now, but whatever. But then in that final issue, it's all told from his perspective. You're hearing how he thinks, and he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm a daywalker. I'm a vampire who can go out in the sun, but I think I've been in the shadows for far too long. I've kind of lost that connection with other humans. It might actually be good for me to work with these other humans. And then you see like him gain a moment to bond with Robbie Reyes, and you're seeing like his interactions with the other members of this team, and it actually made me go, you know what? I'm on board. Let's see what the Avengers do for Blade. Not what Blade does for the Avengers, but what does being a member of this team do for Blade? It makes me so interested to see where his personal journey is going to go. And that's something that you should feel when you read the Avengers. You don't just want to see how this team is going to work together. You're going to want to see how working together on this team affects every member of the team. And I'm already getting that feeling while reading this book. But those are a lot of the newer characters in here, you know, Robbie Reyes, Blade. I talked about the newer version of Jennifer Walters that we got here. What about the older members of this team? I am still loving whenever we get to go inside their heads, because you really do get to see how different every member of this team is. Again, going that whole vampire war storyline, there is a moment that shows such a great distinction between Iron Man and Black Panther. There is a moment in which all these vampires are invading Wakanda, and Iron Man and Black Panther, they're standing there, and Black Panther's like, please, we can help you. If you all just surrender, then we have a facility we can take you to. We can try and find a cure for you. And Iron Man's like, dude, they ain't gonna listen to you. And finally, Black Panther has to accept. He has to stop them here and now. And it goes inside their head, and the narrator says, these aren't humans, is what Tony Stark tells himself. These are blood-sucking monsters that were once human, but they're not humans anymore. So there is nothing to feel bad about having to take them out. And then you see Black Panther over there going, these are humans, is what Black Panther tells himself. These are humans who do not have a choice in what they're doing, and they could have been saved, but sadly Black Panther does not have that choice right now. It was such a small thing, but it showed so much about how these characters are different from each other. I love the little moments that we get like that in this book. Like, there's this little moment that we get in here in one of the issues where Odin comes down and has a bonding moment with Ghost Rider. I didn't see that coming. And yet, when you see like Odin riding around in Ghost Rider's car, and Odin's just kind of like sitting there like, ah, yeah, this feels right. Man, it just makes you feel so much for both those characters in there. It's one of those things that just describing it to you, I know that I am not doing it justice. I know that as excited as I am, and as much as I am like hyping this up, I'm still not doing justice to the amount of depth that you can get from these characters from just a look, from just one single line in there. That really does show the competence that is going into this series. But I haven't even told you the best part. No. You see, the Avengers being a team full of complex, deep characters who have their own unique connections with each other member of the team, that is great. I love that about that. But they still have to go up against something. And Jason Aaron, as he does, is taking his time to set up so much down the road. And I don't know why he has decided to do this, but I'm so happy that he has. Rather than setting up one single villain, he is setting up multiple villain teams. Every single group that the Avengers are going up against are teams of villains. It's not like he's just coming in here and going, ah yes, Kang the Conqueror must be stopped again. Nothing against Kang. I like Kang. Kang is cool. But he's coming in here and he's saying, okay, well, if you think the Avengers are cool, wait until I introduce you to 3 different versions of anti-Avengers. And I know that you might hear me say that and just go, okay, well, that just sounds like a whole bunch of characters flooding the screen all at once. It kind of is, except that every single one of these characters are awesome. Like I said, in the third storyline, it's about them being involved in this vampire war, but it's not just a bunch of faceless random vampire goons they have to go up against. There's this unique team of vampires, And every single member of that team, you look at them and you go, I can instantly tell that you have a personality, you have a backstory, you have a very memorable design to you. I want to see way more of this team, but they're not the only ones. Namor has decided, as Namor does, the surface world, I've had with him. I am done with that. It is time for me to really show the surface world that Atlantis means business. But he's not waging a war on his own. He's got his own team in there. And they always come in here and they give you just a little snippet of who this character is on this team, even if it's a character that you've never met before. But that little tiny snippet that they always give you on each member of this team, it makes you go, well, I want to know more about that. That sounds really damn cool. It sounds like somebody took their time in establishing this character, and we're going to get to learn little bits of them as this story goes along. And even if we don't learn little bits of their backstory, it sounds like you designed someone with a really cool power set that will at least be cool to watch Thor punch. We're even getting older teams. We're getting teams from the Avengers past that everyone had forgotten about being brought to the present day and being modernized. There is unique, cool stuff about these older teams, like the Winter Guard, the old team of Russian supervillains. They've been brought to the modern day, and for anybody who's read the newspaper, there are indeed things going between America and Russia. So I love that they're kind of bringing that into this book as well. Because as you read this, it is very much like a new Cold War is building between the Winter Guard and the Avengers. Like, the Avengers keep looking over at the Winter Guard like, you have something that we need, and the Winter Guard is like, well, come and get it, and that means war. And the Avengers are like, okay. But then all of a sudden the Winter Guard needs help with something, so the Avengers can come in there, and they have to spend this time like staring each other down. It's like, okay, so what are we gonna do? And you just know, every time that they have an interaction, you just know, all right, something's gonna happen. Something is gonna go down with this. And it's not just the old members of the Winter Guard, they brought in some new members, and as I said, they know exactly how to give you just a little bit of information on these characters that makes you go, all right, yeah, I really want to know what's going to happen with this character. I really want to know way more about that character. And speaking of characters that are building up to something big, they brought the Squadron Supreme back. But I will not spoil the twist with the new Squadron Supreme. They changed something massive about them. And oh man, it looks like it is going to get deep. It is going to get into something huge. It looks like there are like 9 different secrets stacked on top of each other that are all going to play out with this new Squadron Supreme, especially considering who the new person in charge of the Squadron Supreme is. It is a character that when I saw they were coming back, I looked at it and was just like, oh really? Okay, well, I never really cared about that character, and they were kind of just introduced solely to just be a movie tie-in. Oh my god, they're doing something interesting with that character. They came in here and they made me want to see what that character does. So you have got 4 different teams of supervillains just building stuff up, just taking their time. You know this is all leading up to something huge, and I can't wait to see where this goes. Also, I completely forgot to say this, and I'm not kidding you, it's literally the entire reason why I decided to do this video today, but also this is the book where the upcoming series Agents of Wakanda is spinning out of. That's another team that was created for this series, and they are fantastic. The second they showed up on the scene, I said these guys need their own series. It is the most ragtag team made up of the most ragtag band of characters you've ever seen, and oh my goodness, I am so excited for their book. Again, sorry to just tack this on here at the end, but there were so many cool things to talk about in this book that I ended up forgetting the entire reason why I wanted to talk about this book, which I guess is kind of a compliment about how many cool things there are in this book. So yes, that was the first installment in our brand new refreshed version of Thorgi's Picks, in which I come in here and I just spotlight something that has me excited, has me jazzed, something that I just can't contain. I just have to talk about that book. So if there's a book out there that you are loving right now, let me know what that is in the comments down below. If you've read Jason Aaron's Avengers story, how do you feel about it? Let me know that in the comments down below. If you read Jason Aaron's Avengers for just the first couple issues and you're like, I don't know if this is for me, then go back, read that series. I was where you are right now. Oh my god, I am loving this thing so much. And if you want to check out some of these trades, I will put a link to where you can buy them on Amazon down in the descriptions below. If you go through that link and buy those books or just anything else on Amazon, we actually get a small cut of it. It's a great way to get yourself something really cool and help the channel at the same time. But you can also help this channel by following me around the web at Twitch, twitch.tv/Professor Thorgi, and on Twitter at twitter.com/Professor Thorgi. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Come back next time. Bye.